I need you guys to listen to me really clearly right now. This is gonna be the easiest and best keyboard that you will ever build for this price and with this minimal amount of work. I kid you not, I'm gonna drop the sound test right now. I literally put the switches in, put the keycaps on, and started typing away. This is the Odin Gaming Aurora65, a 65% keyboard that is $189, comes with Duroc V2 stabilizers that are also slightly pre-lubed from the factory, but good enough to use for certain if you aren't really used to lubing keyboard stabilizers or lubing anything in a keyboard at all. And the best part about this board is that, let's just say you're not like myself and own keyboards that range from $50 to more than amount of money that I honestly want to admit, but let's just say $600 on a custom keyboard. And this board for $189, I am beyond impressed with. Let's go and talk about the aesthetics of the keyboard real quick. So number one, this keyboard does have an aluminum top frame as well as an aluminum internal piece that we're gonna take a look at a little bit later in the video when we take this thing apart. It's very elegant. There's no seams on the side at all. And then you have this huge polycarbonate piece on the bottom of the keyboard that does house everything inside. And then there is this huge piece of polycarbonate that goes all the way to the edge of the board and shows off that amazing underglow that this keyboard does feature. I mean, you guys let me know, is there anything else on the market that has underglow like this? I'll answer it for you. The answer is no. Drop a comment though, but regardless, there's nothing else on the market that has underglow that is this crazy. I mean, guys, check it out. You can see the underglow pouring from the sides of the keyboard. Like, it looks absolutely amazing. You do have VIA compatibility as well if you want to change things like the RGB controls, switch layout, and all that good stuff. But this is just a really, really good looking keyboard itself. 65% with a blocker here, and then you have the two full-size keys that will also match your control windows and alt keys. And then as far as the internals of the keyboard are concerned, you do have a gasket mounted design that works really well depending on the plate that you're using. I'm using the aluminum plate right now, so it is pretty stiff. Like, if I press onto it, there's not really going to be that much flex. But if you switch to one of the other 5 plate options, I mean, this is absolutely insane. Check this out, guys. So not only do you have aluminum standard with the keyboard, you also have POM, polycarbonate, FR4, and carbon fiber, which is absolutely crazy. For this keyboard that costs less than $200, you have all these plate options available to truly customize all of the sound. Now, obviously, I haven't done sound tests with all these just yet, but I will do sound tests with a couple of them in this video that you're going to hear later on. And then I will also have more content on the Aurora65 coming out later in the next couple of weeks, featuring the other plates that I didn't test in this video. here is the box for the Aurora 65. It does come in two colors, Nova Black and Aurora White. Obviously we have the white one here, but I do think that the box design honestly looks really good. You do also have like this gold foil text on the front of the board, as well as the side and the back, and then the features and everything that's included on the back of the board, of course. But you open up the box and you do see that it is packaged very well, so this should definitely make it to your house safe. There's another piece of foam that's on top, but you do get a braided USB Type-C cable, a screwdriver that you will use if you want to open up the board that is included in the box, and then you will also get a switch puller as well as a keycap puller, which I got one a little early, so I didn't really need those. I was like, it's not a big deal, just send it to me anyways. I have a ton of these laying around. But let's go ahead and take this apart and look at the inner workings of the new Aurora 65. Before we get too into the details of the inside of the keyboard, one thing I do want to mention as far as ease of taking this thing apart, there are a ton less screws. So on the older version, on the Nova 65, a lot of the screws were really long and it took a while to take that thing apart. But these screws are super short. It should take you no longer than a couple of minutes if you're using the manual screwdriver, and even quicker if you're using an electric screwdriver like this wow stick. But looking at the polycarbonate bottom real quick, I actually do like the fact that these feet are super thick, these rubber feet, so this is definitely not going to be sliding around on your mouse pad or your desk at all, especially if you have a hybrid pad like this one. And then as far as the inside, we can see the top shell, which is removable, and then we can see the inner aluminum tray as well as the outer aluminum top shell, and then the PCB itself. Now the PCB does run at a 1000 hertz polling rate, and there is also a daughter board right here. So if we go ahead and swap this around, popping off the top shell real quick, this will reveal the gasket mounted system as well as the daughter board. So let's go ahead and disconnect the daughter board real quick, and then we can see that we do have some pour-on gaskets up here, your USB Type-C daughter board right here as well, which is, it's really nice how they had this little tray so that your daughter board is not just super flimsy. If this aluminum was cut out right here, it's just nice and sturdy, and you don't have to worry about this moving when you are using your flexible gasket keyboard. Now, of course, with the aluminum plate, that is a very stiff plate, so you're not really gonna have much flex. But if you change over to something like the polycarbonate plate, where you're gonna have a ton more flex, or something like the carbon fiber plate where you have a little bit more flex than the aluminum. This carbon fiber is actually still pretty rigid, but of course it's gonna be a little bit more flexible than aluminum, but not much. The FR4 plate as well as the palm plate, these are pretty rigid, so you're not really gonna have much flex with these plates. So if you want a really flexible gasket mounted keyboard, then I would personally opt for the polycarbonate plate, but just be aware that depending on the switches that you use, it is gonna be super clacky. And here we have our top shelf for the Aurora 65. Painting process went flawlessly because I do not see anything wrong with the paint job on the board itself on either of the top or bottom case. But one thing about the Aurora 65 that I love is the fact that they already have applied the pour-on strips to both the bottom and top case, so that if you choose to swap out the plate, you don't have to worry about fumbling with gaskets and applying them to each plate individually. That was one thing that I honestly hated about both the GMK Pro and the Keychron Q3 that I customized, because I had to reapply gasket strips to the plates that I wanted to use, and it was really annoying. But this will save you at least 10 to 20 minutes when you're customizing your keyboard. Obviously, we can see that this has an aluminum plate, and then I'll also throw some footage of the pre-included PE foam layer that is on the bottom of the PCB that you do not have to tear apart the keyboard to enjoy. If you don't want, obviously you can take apart your keyboard before you put it together with your switches and everything and remove the PE foam. But personally, I actually really like the fact that they included laser cut PE foam, because typically when you buy it on the aftermarket, it's about $20-ish. So the fact that you're getting a keyboard for under $190 and getting PE foam included and those gaskets pre-installed in the case will save you a bunch of time and also make the acoustics of your keyboard experience a lot better. As far as switches, I am using Prevail Epsilon switches at the moment, and we are also using GMK Grand Prix that I got from Novel Keys. If you're looking for a one and done build and you just want a deep thocky build that you don't have to do any work to, I highly recommend that you guys check out these Prevail Epsilon switches. These switches are available on prevailkeycompany.com switches.com, and they are, in my opinion, some of the best stock switches that you can use. Pre-lube application is honestly the best that I've ever seen. Like, there's literally no need to lube over these at all. They sound really good and super deep, and the spring is nice and snappy as well, so you will have a great time gaming with this keyboard. So pop in some Epsilon switches, you can keep the aluminum plate the same, and your keyboard will sound absolutely amazing. Now, as far as all the features that you get included with this keyboard, Durock V2 stabilizers, that if you're gonna buy for a custom keyboard that's gonna cost you probably $500 anyways, if you get a really high-end keyboard, well, you're gonna spend $500 on the keyboard and then another like $25 to $28 on Durock V2s for a set and plus shipping. So the fact that this includes that is absolutely insane. Even though you're gonna pay for shipping on this too, but for $189 plus shipping, you get the Durock V2s included for free. The fact that they're already pre-lubed from the factory this well, I'm absolutely shocked how great of a job they did. Not to mention the fact that the aluminum plate is really nice as well for a deep thocky sound, and that polycarbonate plate at the bottom providing all of this beautiful underglow helps so much acoustically. This is a great decision. Like, honestly speaking, like it's so bright, like literally you can see it on camera. It's green, okay, now blue. I mean, wow, this is absolutely nuts. I don't really have much else to say, and I don't want this video to be too long, but seriously guys, for the price, would I rather buy this? Would I rather buy a Keychron Q2, I believe is their 65% with a knob that I honestly don't care about the knob. I got a Keychron Q3, did not get the knob. I don't need it. It's literally does nothing for me. One of the Keychrons, one of the Glorious. Heck, would I even rather spend a ton more money on another keyboard? To be honest, it's very hard to tell someone to buy a board that's not in stock, and probably if it's a group buy, and especially if they're only gonna do like 1 or 2 runs, it's hard to recommend something like that because you don't really know if the company is gonna be around for a while. Like, what happens if you buy one of these $300 or $500+ keyboards from a group buy that you gotta wait 9 months to a year and a half to come in for hundreds of dollars again? And what happens when your PCB 8 months later is messed up and you email the company like, well, we're out of PCBs, you know, there's nothing we can do. This keyboard is such a low price that Odin Gaming plans to keep this in stock and available. I don't really think that realistically you're gonna have any issues with this board, but just from the idea of having support after the purchase, just like any other big gaming brand like Razer, Glorious, things like that, it's nice to have something that's going to be in stock, readily available. If you have any problems, you're going to have a support system that's actually going to be able to help you. Because if you buy one of these like super boutique keyboards, quite frankly, I'm always like tempted to order an extra PCB in case something happens to the first one. That's like my worst fear, is like that having this super expensive keyboard that I love, that quite frankly something could happen to it, I won't have the full functionality of it because of said accident, said problem, whatever. The Aurora65, $189, tons of customizability and accessories available for it at launch as well. I really don't have anything else to say, guys. This thing's absolutely great. I hope you guys agree with me from the sound test as well. And that's all I have for you guys. If you guys want to support the channel and purchase the Aurora65, use code TooMuchTech at checkout. On the keyboard itself, there won't be a discount, but if you go ahead and purchase a mouse pad, some of the other accessories like the plates, they have some keycaps as well as their new and improved wrist rests, they will also give you a discount on those as well, and that will also help support the channel too. So if you enjoyed the review and you want to pick up an Aurora65 for yourself and support the channel, use code TooMuchTech at checkout. But that's all I have for you guys. If you guys enjoy, feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. I want to thank you again for watching, and also don't forget to look out for more content on this keyboard, because I do have a ton of switches, like literally a drawer full of them. I'm gonna be doing a ton of sound tests with this board. I actually feel comfortable doing sound tests with this board on my second channel as well, because it's something that's going to be readily available and also something that you guys can replicate yourself once you get your own keyboard. So that's my goal for reviewing switches from this point onward, is to use something that you guys can also use yourself and replicate the results. But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.